Hello everyone, welcome to the practical session of Computer Network. So before I start, let me know, can you hear me guys? You can drop me a message. Yeah, thank you. So this session is going to be very interesting because just in our last lecture, we covered the UDP. Can anyone tell me about UDP? Unmute yourself. About UDP. So today we are going to perform experiment number 8. And this experiment number 8 is all about using socket programming, implement connectionless service. Connectionless service. So which class you all might be using, guys? Which class you will be using? Let me share my screen with you all, then start. I have shared my screen with you all. Let me know whether it is visible. Can you see my screen? So we have already performed some example of socket programming. Experiment number 8 was also based on socket programming, and there we implemented the connection oriented. So we defined some basic word terminology such as what is a program, then what is a process, IP address, the port number, right? Then this socket address, the combination of IP address and the port number, everything is correlating the theory and the practical. Connection oriented, this TCP services are connection oriented, right? For the process to process communication, we have the port number. And talking about Java, in Java, to implement a connection oriented service, you have used socket and server socket. You remember that? For the connectionless service, you will be using datagram, socket, and datagram packet. All right. So every communication is, this is based on the client server paradigm. For a successful communication, the 4 entities should be there. One is the client process, then client socket address, server, and the server socket address. So let me know. This experiment number 9 is all about using the socket programming. We have to implement a connectionless service. Note it down. A connectionless service. For a connectionless service, what you will be using? Yeah, UDP protocol. This services provided by UDP protocol is connectionless. So to implement the connectionless service, here I'm using Java programming itself. Because you are aware about this Java programming, you completed that in last semester. You can code this in C++ also, right? So datagram packet and datagram socket are the two main classes. Remember, datagram socket and the datagram packet. When I was doing the programming connection oriented, there I also gave you one hint that just change the class and it will be a connectionless service. So if you want to implement a connectionless service from the Java, you have to use two important class, that is datagram socket and the datagram packet. So what is the use of datagram packet and datagram socket? They are used to implement a UDP, a client server application. For the client server architecture. For UDP, as already told, there are 4 entities. For a successful client server paradigm, it is important. One is the client host, then the client process, server host, and the server process. Okay, so when you will prefer this connectionless implementation, anyone can reply me when you will prefer? Yes. So in Java, you use datagram socket. One major difference between the connection oriented and connectionless is that we use datagram socket for both and client and server. This is the main difference. In connection oriented, there were two different classes for a client side and for a server side. But here in connectionless implementation, datagram socket is the only class. If you remember, if I talk about connection oriented implementation, there is server, there is a socket and server socket. So in this, there are no separate classes for the client and the server. In TCP, there were different classes. So you can create a datagram socket object to establish UDP connection for sending and receiving datagram. These are the constructor that you can use. Datagram socket constructor you can use. This constructor, it is overloaded constructor overloading. It means the function name constructor name is same, but here no argument is being passed. You can pass one argument or you can pass two argument. One is the port number, one and second one is the internet address. So what happened when no argument constructor is used? No argument constructor in which there is no argument being passed. So in that case, no argument constructor used to create a client that bound to an arbitrary port number. There are some well-known port number from 0 to 1023. It will be arbitrary. The second constructor used to create a server that bind to the specific port number where you pass the port number. If you do not provide any, the operating system will assign arbitrary port. So now let me explain you the program. Similarly, we will implement the client process, then we will implement the server process, then we will start the communication. We will simulate it by executing it. All right, till now let me know whether the basic requirement regarding implementation of connectionless service is clear to you all. You can drop me a message whether it is clear. The basic requirement, drop me a message. Come on, fast. Do not take too much time. Be this. Please respond. Is it clear? This basic about that is basic knowledge required for the implementing the connectionless service. Okay. So now let's see first this client UDP client program first. I have just named this class UDP client to differentiate that yeah, this is connectionless. So obviously, as in our last socket programming, this is the client side implementation where we have imported the required packages of java.io and java.net that are required, and one more import of the utility class scanner is there. So the name of this class UDP client, we will save this program with the name UDP client.java. Have you used this scanner? Yes, guys. Have you used the scanner class? This is used to take runtime input from the console. Runtime input in Java. Any reply? Have you used this scanner class earlier? Yeah, that's great. So this is used to take runtime input, and this is the scanner SC class. Name of the object is SC to represent the scanner. Then I'm passing system.in as argument. This will be used to take runtime input. This is used for runtime input from the console. So most important step, first step in client server architecture, then you create a datagram socket object. This create the socket object for carrying the data. This is the client implementation, and client will be able to send data to the server with the help of the datagram socket, right? So with the help of datagram socket, you will be able to transmit data from server to the client. So this will be used to transmit data, transmit data from the client to the server process, process. Okay, all right. This is the important phase where you define the socket. What is socket? Socket is the combination of IP address and port number, right? So here we are using one important function, get localhost. This important function of Java will provide the local address, localhost IP. Okay, if you are aware about the localhost, you can directly pass it 127.0.0.1, right? But here I'm utilizing one function to get the localhost, and that localhost will return the localhost IP, and it will be stored in IP object. Here you can see this is an array of data type byte, right? So this loop gonna be infinite loop. How it is infinite? If in C this is same as in C language or Java, you write while one. One is never gonna be zero, means false. One represent true and zero represent false. But here in Java, we have Boolean data type that represent, and that is the true is that constant of Boolean data type. So it will always remain true. Is it clear till now, or you have any doubt? If any doubt, you may ask. Let me just complete the explanation. So when the loop will terminate, as it is infinite, it will keep on executing. So you are taking input from the console. You are reading a line from the keyboard at the runtime. This will take input from the user at the runtime. Then step number 2, the most important. Here I have named it step number 1. Here I am naming it step number 2, where you create a datagram packet for sending the data. To create a datagram packet, we have class datagram packet, and I'm using datagram packet representing DP. Send means this client will be sending the data packet to the server. So here what argument are being passed? The buffer, array buffer that we have created a byte data type. Then whatever the length of this buffer is, calculating the length. Then IP address. What is the IP address that we have received by using the function get localhost? Basically, it will result 127.0.0.1. And then this port number from the client side. Okay, this is given. Then step number 3, first you created the socket, datagram socket. You created the datagram packet. Now the third and last step is to send. To send the datagram packet from client to server, you use datagram socket dot send. What do you want to send? Datagram packet. Where is datagram packet? Here is the datagram packet object that I have just created. So as this is infinite loop, this gonna execute again and again and again. When it will come out from the loop, when it will detect a BYE by word while taking the runtime input. See, this also will be, the send. Suppose that you are typing a inp dot get byte, and this get byte is stored into buffer. So this is the client side implementation. Let me know whether it is clear everything. Are you with me, guys? Let me know whether it is clear. Be responsive. Do respond in the chat box. It will take only. Now let's move to the server implementation. Here at the UDP server, I have named the class at UDP server. So here we will create a server socket. Which class I will use to create a server socket? Yes. Anyone? Let me know. To create a client socket, I have used datagram socket class. And again, to create a server socket, again, I am using the same class. This is the major difference when you are going to implement a connectionless service or connection-oriented service. In connection-oriented service, the class is different for the client side and for the server side. Okay. Then this is the server side implementation. We are importing the required classes, this required library, java.net, java.io. These are the required packages. Then some java.net internet. We are importing a specified class only. What if we write java.net.star? What does that mean? What if we write java.io.asterisk? What does that mean? Yeah, here is some reply in the chat box. Yeah, the same class. Okay, this is the difference. Again, we are creating a byte array, a data type byte. Name of variable is received. Let it be meaningful, because whatever the data is sent at step number 3 from the client side, that will be received in this variable. So where it is used, ds.receive dp receiver. Okay, then again I'm creating a datagram packet, and the datagram packet name object, it is dp receive. It is not any function, right? Just it is the name of the object. Initially we are initializing it with null. Here at the server side also, the loop is running at the infinite time. This is infinite time. So it is kept outside this infinite loop. And this step number 2, you create a datagram packet to receive the data. Here instance is created. Now here you are receiving a new datagram packet object. What you are passing here? You are passing the receive object. The receive object is an array of type class byte. Its length is 65,535, and you have calculated the length also. Then step number 3, after creating the datagram packet, step number 3 is ds.receive, datagram socket.receive, in which you want to receive dp receive. Simply this function is sending the output to the console of the server. Okay, again, when you will exit from the server process, it is infinite loop. Okay, you will exit from the server socket if the string received is equal to byte. Then this message will be printed, and with the help of break keyword, this infinite loop will break. Is it clear, guys? This is one utility function, utility method that will convert the byte array into string representation. It will convert the byte array data into string representation and otherwise. So now it's the time for the simulation. Before that, let me know whether it is clear, the code. Now we will execute. Uh, Let me open the command prompt, to command prompt. And can you see this CMD command prompt? Whether it is pop-up window is visible to you all? Can you see the pop-up window, guys? Why I am opening to command window? Why? Anyone of you can reply me? Yeah. Can you see both the screen? Are you with me, guys? You can at least drop me a message. Huh? You cannot go to. Yeah, two window for simultaneous execution. Yes, correct. Let me take a note. So when I say the server process, then you will look at the server side. This side I am deciding in advance. This will be the server side and I will be executing the server process here. And this one here, it is the, what to say that, this is the client side. So whenever at the time of explanation, you are notified to which window you are going to look at. Okay. So where I have program, yes, I remember the path of my program. I have stored program in D drive. Let's go to the D drive by typing the drive name followed by the colon. Then there is Java program. Yes. Let me see how many files. Yeah, there is TCP and UDP. Okay, I have segregated the program. One kept in TCP folder, another kept in UDP. So UDP name is meaningful. It's connectionless service. Let's move here. And same here, do to the client side also. Change to the Java program folder. Then change to the UDP where currently my program, so that I do not need to give the path again and again. Okay, there is S keyword, capital S not working in my keyword. That's why it was giving error. CLS to clear the screen. So at the server side, I'm going to compile this. What is the name of the program? Let me check. UDP client dot Java, as you can see, UDP client dot Java. Okay, fine. Java UDP client dot UDP server. No issue, you can execute that too. Compilation, do not bother about the compilation, just bother about the execution only. Okay, it's taking time. Now the server program is compiled. Let's also compile the UDP client process, not process, UDP client program. When it will become the process, yeah, it is compiled. When it will become the process, anyone, when you execute that, be aware about each and every terminology, every wording. Okay, now server side program is executed. So guys, can you see any output on the server side window? Just let me know whether there is What are the service primitive at the transport layer? What are the various, transport layer protocol service primitive? Anyone remember that? The listen mode, the connection, datagram, the datagram packet itself, the disconnect. Should I not wait for your response? You remember? If not remember, just refer my theory lecture. The now there is no output at the server side because this server is waiting. It is in listen mode. It is waiting for some client to try to connect. Right? Should we proceed further and execute the client process also? Client program UDP client. Yeah. Now at the same time, now two processes are in execution mode. So nothing is happening because I was taking input from the console at the client program. So here I have to type something. Here I have to send hello server, server number 2. See, can you see? This is client PC. Let's, let's have a meeting, at 4:30 on 30th April. So you can see every output. Yeah, is it clear? Can you see? Just notice the server side window. Notice the server side window. There is some, whatever you are typing at the client side. So when these two processes are going to exit, when these two are going to exit from the program, yes, with the term exit, is it command? No, user have implemented, and for that the user have typed in small b by t. So after receiving the byword, it says the servers the client send by, and this server process is exiting. It exit, and this with the byword, the client word also exit after sending this byword to the server. Yes, guys, are you with me? Should I execute it one more time? So this is known as one-way communication, where only, client is communicating with the server. Yes, you can merge both the program. You can do some updation from your side. Then you can implement that. So my suggestion is that whenever you are going to write the worksheet, try to implement this. Is it clear what I'm saying? See, the connection oriented service that we implemented socket and server socket, the second program was, more interactive. So you can convert that program into connectionless. Are you with me, guys? Give me a quick feedback whether it is clear. I hope this is, you know, this session is useful for you and based on the practical, based on the hands-on. See, you are reading in theory also, you are doing the same in practical also. So whatever you do practically, you can remember it. So let me execute it one more time. Java UDP server. Okay, now it is in execution mode. Here, let me execute Java UDP client. So hello. Yeah, you can see output here. Have you seen the task manager in your computer? What is being displayed in the task manager? Have you seen that task manager? Anyone can talk to me? How many of you have seen Task Manager in your laptop? Come on, quickly respond. Okay, can I show you? If you say I can show you. So there are 3 keywords in your laptop, on your Yes, guys, can you see this? If you do not respond, how I can, how I can know that whether the window is visible to you or let me know whether the pop-up window is visible to you. So again, I'm telling you how to open this task manager. There are 2 window, 2 keyword in your machine, Control, Alt, and 2 time del. Can you see this? Yes, here is the task manager. Do let me know if it is visible. I can show you the in task manager. You can see the process. Is there anyone? Can you see this task manager? Okay, if you click here, so you can see that there are many programs that's currently being executed on my machine, and there are 9 application. 9 application. These are the process, really process. Google Chrome, Microsoft Word, Notepad
You're
plus.
not audible.
The mic is on from my side. Can you hear me? Check the mic setting is correct. Yes. Other, please respond. Can you hear me? Anyone? You can unmute and talk to me. Am I audible? Can you hear me, guys? Yeah, mic is functioning properly. Okay. I have muted and unmuted. Let me know. Can you hear me? Am I audible to you all? Okay. So here you can see there are 9 applications that are currently being executed. What I want to show you, not only the notepad, but this window command prompt, and how much CPU they are utilizing. Currently, Zoom is utilizing this 37% of my CPU, 193.5 of my memory, systems memory. And this there is read and route of operation network. I'm having 1.3 Mbps. Its power usage is very high. So these are the details. Apart from this, there are various background process. These are the background processes. So these 2 window are also showing at the process. These 2 windows are also being shown as the process. So let me close this. So that's all from my side. If you have any doubt, any question, you may ask. Hello, guys. Can you hear me? So that's all from my side for today. So when you join next, if you have any doubt, you can ask. Okay, I have stopped sharing now. So I hope that session was useful for you all. And can you quickly give me feedback in the chat box? Can you hear me, guys? So do join in the next session on time. This session is gonna end in less than 3 minutes, less than 2. So if you have any doubt, any question, you may ask.